International humanitarian law is a body of law that tells parties to the conflict how they can fight and who are the individuals who are protected. International humanitarian law identifies certain individuals and groups of people who are protected and should not be subject to the attack. This includes civilians, it includes those who are providing medical assistance, it also includes soldiers who are wounded and sick and who are no longer engaged in the fighting. In addition, international humanitarian law tells the parties to the conflict, so the fighters, the soldiers, the weapons bearers, what they are permitted to do and what type of weapons and tactics they're permitted to use. And the IHL gives the limit to those weapons and tactics. The object of it is to limit the brutality related to armed conflict and bring somewhat that spirit of humanity even in the most extreme situations, such as times of armed conflict during war. When Canadians are watching the news in the evening, when they're reading the newspapers, when they're checking their smartphones for updates about the conflicts that are taking place the world over, international humanitarian law is such a crucial body of information and knowledge for them to have in order to be able to understand these conflicts. In addition, international humanitarian law is part of the story of the refugees and displaced people who have come to Canada to seek refuge. International humanitarian law is the law that governs the armed conflict where these individuals are fleeing from. So international humanitarian law, both compliance with the law as well as violations of the law, which can be targeting of civilians, and this can at times amount to war crimes, where this is the story and part of the history of the individuals who have arrived in Canada seeking assistance. And these individuals are our neighbors, they're our community members. And it's so important for Canadians to understand the history and story of these new Canadians.
I had a fairly young rebel soldier tell me that he didn't quite understand all of the nuances about what I was telling him about Geneva Conventions and international humanitarian law, and that he needed to go and speak to his commander, and he would come back to me. And he did. He came back a couple of days later saying that he understood and he agreed, and his commander agreed that we should be an area that would not be targeted and that would actively be protected by their rebel force.
And what was the result?
The result was that we continued our work in that area for as long as I worked there without any problem from any of the combatants in the area.
We worked a lot in order to distribute the knowledge of IHL through different methods, mainly in dealing with armed barriers. And we witnessed, after working with them in a lot of workshops and providing them with the information, it actually works. In one of the cases, a militant group came to us, provided us with a video showing that they were so close to target a legitimate vehicle, a military vehicle, and they stopped the attack when they witnessed and when they saw an ambulance. And that means that IHL actually works.